Okay, so today's piece is Agitprop by Lansing McLoskey, a composer I'm not familiar with at all. The score does not, just has bass clarinet and marimba in the score, and this score is from 2017. The recording on SoundCloud says it's for bass clarinet, marimba, and electronics. Um, so that is slightly different. I think the year is still the same on this recording. Just gotta scroll down to it. I couldn't find any YouTube recordings or anything on a quick Google search. Yeah, looking at the score, we got three movements. The first one is O Tempora. Second one is O Moras. And then the third movement is on a separate PDF. It's in two parts. The first one is Chorale Estis Genug. Part two is Aria, and that's it. So it looks fairly interesting just glancing through it. It's very well notated and stuff. But there's no front matter. And I'm assuming this is for commissioned by Transient Canvas, although I don't know exactly if it is. Can't confirm that. Lansing McLoskey was born in 1964. He's an American composer. He's been commissioned by the Fromm Foundation, Guerrilla Opera, Copeland House, the Barlow Endowment for the Arts, and other ensembles and institutions. Okay, so apparently he uh, planned to major in piano performance at UC Santa Barbara, but then heard some contemporary music, Barrios Sinfonia, which we've covered on the channel, Stravinsky's Rite of Spring, which we've also discussed on the channel, and Non al suo amante by Jacopo di Bologna. I think that is that's an Ars Nova composer, so that's like early music. And those pieces inspired him to study composition instead. His master's was at USC Thornton School of Music. After completing his master's, he worked for a company in Santa Monica, which I guess he was there like to do some sound tech type work, but it was not a creative job, I don't think. Then he married his wife and then moved to Boston, where the two of them both pursued degrees. There he got his PhD at Harvard. Um, his wife got 3 degrees over the course of his PhD, all in opera performance. And then I guess, yeah, as a composition student at Harvard, he studied with Mario Davidovsky, who's famous for working with instrument and electronics, kind of a pioneer composer of that. And I guess his career kind of blew up after studying at Harvard because, as like most Ivy League composers, have way more access to academic jobs than anyone else in America. So, yeah, he taught at Harvard, then Wellesley College, and then the Longy School of Music, and finally found a faculty appointment at the University of Miami. I think that's a pretty fair like coverage of his biography. Everything else in this Wikipedia page are just like lists of accomplishments, performances, commissions, things like that. Then there's a section on his music. Yeah, it seems like his oldest opus. His numbers are sort of like in the 1990s, late 1980s. Um, and he's still producing work now. I see a piece from 2024 here, some pieces from 2023, and I doubt that the Wikipedia is as updated as it could be. So yeah, just another American composer that I wasn't familiar with. So I'm going to listen to this piece. The recording on his SoundCloud is 14 minutes long. I've put a link to that in the video description if you'd like to get to know this work as well. See if there's any program notes on the YouTube video. Commissioned by the Alba Music Festival for Transient Canvas, as I predicted. And it's based on 2 speeches that were delivered in ancient Rome. Cicero's oratorio to the Roman Senate in 63 BC, and Memmius's Against a Corrupt Oligarchy speech from 110 BC. Because this piece is from 2017, I'm just going to go out on a limb and assume it's about the first Trump presidency in the US, but in like a sort of roundabout way. Instead of being like directly political, it's more, kind of like about politics or whatever. Also, the Bach chorale that is quoted is called "It Is Enough!" ! So, that sounds like the kind of thing that like a liberal would do to express anger at the first Trump presidency. I think we can all remember, or most of us can remember, what the climate was like in the arts in America at that time. So, yeah, let's get into this thing. Okay, so this one was an interesting listen. I sort of started ignoring the piece around the third movement, at least the score, because that third movement is more than half of the work. I think I accidentally exited out of the first 2 movements. One thing that struck me about the piece was like, well, first of all, the electronics in it are just like the speeches that are mentioned in the program notes just being recited in the background, and it's possible that you don't have them in the second movement because the second movement is so loud that they'd be covered up if they were. But yeah, it's kind of just like a speech going on and some droney stuff in the second half, and the music is just kind of happening on top. So in terms of like a conceptual piece, I don't know if it really works. I think the text could have been better integrated into the piece as a whole. It feels kind of added on. But in terms of like the music itself, which is what's in the score, I think it's really well written for the ensemble, and it looks really fun to play, easy to play. There's a lot of like ideas that really work. Like the second movement is the hardest one, and it's got lots of repeated notes, and like it's kind of just like a 2-voice thing, passing around 16th note passages. It's very idiomatic. First movement is dead easy because it's mostly a bass clarinet solo with it's just like interrupted by the marimba. And then the third movement is also kind of like that, right? Except even more so. So the way that part 2 works is it's just kind of like a really long, drawn out bass clarinet melody, and it's sort of like imposed by these free marimba figures, which are just notated as grace notes, right? So it's kind of like, yeah, very open. The performers can kind of do whatever they want. They don't have to worry about being too in sync. And then, of course, the chorale stuff bookends the third movement. It's not that hard to play either. The third movement, I think there's like a drone added to the speech, and it like feels very static. Okay, well there you go. So there is like 2 speakers playing the text. I'm assuming, and then there's also a bunch of smartphones placed throughout the audience which play MP3 files, which I'm assuming is the drone, is like a chord. So it's like a spatialized chord thing. Ah, man, I don't know if I like that idea. I mean, whatever. It's clearly like got a lot of things going on. I'm sure it's really up somebody's alley. Yeah, I'm not familiar with the chorale that's being quoted by Bach, but it's kind of distorted because of the multiphonics in the bass clarinet. That's a fun idea. Again, it's been done in a lot of other pieces as well. I'm sure you can find some George Crumb examples or something. Not sure what the chorale represents in this case, other than like the title is Esti Skinnog, so maybe that's what it means. Tomorrow, I think we're doing another piece for the same ensemble from 2017.